Hello, everybody. This is Pete. Just a quick note before we get into this episode of the Voices of Winchester podcast. The topics covered tonight are intended for mature audiences. Some of the language and things that are depicted in this episode might not be suitable for all audiences. Your discretion is advised. And now on with the show. You're listening to the Voices of Winchester podcast, the show that brings your stories, our stories, and all the voices of Winchester right to your ears. Stick around for some great conversation.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Win City Voices podcast. I am not Pete Catoulis. I am Lisa Bush. I am the director of All Voices Reading Room, and Pete has given me control of the studio for 3 episodes. And I am super excited. I'm going to be talking about issues that deal with the LGBTQ community. Okay? So I'm really excited about this first guest. You are absolutely going to love her. She is a successful hairstylist and cosmetologist here in Winchester, Kentucky. She lives next door to us in Irvine, Kentucky, in Estill County. She was born and raised there. So she's lived in very rural area of the Appalachian region. She's also been, I'm going to pull this up because I will forget it. She's been in some independent films, the Trashology Trilogy, Crazy Fat Ethel, Model Hunger, and she did the makeup for Early Morning Calm. Now, I believe Early Morning Calm is a horror flick, correct?
Yes.
Right. So that's not just making pretty faces. That's making some gore and everything else too, isn't it?
Yes. I did the makeup for Lynn Lowry for that movie. It's directed by Brian Dorton. I did some acting in it as well, but mainly just the makeup I was her personal makeup artist for that movie.
That's awesome. All right. So we are going to be talking with Gerica Horn, and she is going to talk about being a transgender woman, and her experiences in rural. She's grown up in a rural area of Kentucky. We're going to talk both about that, and we're also going to be talking about her relationship with her father, because I think that's really important to get into too. But Jerry, what I want to do is I want to start off with a story that you have said and told me off air before. And I absolutely love this story. And I think this story really encompasses your family dynamic, but it's also a great way to share some old-fashioned Appalachian ingenuity. But that is the day you were born. Can you tell us about the day you were born?
So, as Lisa said, that I was born in Estill County. It was on the edge of Madison County and Estill County. We're out in the country. So, like, back in 1984, believe it or not, there was no, we didn't have phones. We grew up real poor. So, like, the only person that had a phone was my grandfather, who lived across the street. But it was, like, up a hill across the street. So, my dad was gone that day, like, to a yard sale or something like that. He was gone, like, all day. And, an auction. It was an auction. He was gone all day long. And he took my older sister with him. So, it was just my mom at home by herself. So, like, probably about, like, 11 or 12 o'clock at night, like, Mom was, like, getting ready to go to bed. Dad still wasn't home yet. And then she went into labor with me. So she was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Here I am. There's nobody here. There's no phone. There's no nothing. So she got my dad's gun out and stuck it out the door and shot it off to get my grandfather's attention. to come help her.
So it all started with Big Bang, right?
Yeah, it all started with a big bang.
So Jerry, I think our listeners would love to know a little bit about what you were like as a child. Can you explain a little bit about what you were like, especially as a young child?
I've always been kind of like a class clown, like my entire life, like just smart, but acting and like just silly and goofy and I like mainly with people that I know. Like with people I didn't know, I was kind of like reserved and like shy until like they got to know me, and then it was like I just came out of my shell, just
right,
being silly and goofy and
right,
I just love to make people laugh. I love to entertain people. I would always like dance around on the playground as a kid, like, and entertain people. Would just gather around and just watch me just dance
perform,
and sing, perform. Yeah, like I performed for like my grade, like the kids I played with, like I was like just super goofy.
right. So now, would you have considered yourself feminine? Did you see yourself as different?
Yes, yeah. I had the biggest crush on this boy in my class, and I'm not saying any names, but but I had the biggest crush on him, and I knew there was like I was like we would play house. There was like a on the playground there was a one of those big fort things, like I don't know what they call them, but like a swing set that had like a house in it, and we would literally play house, me and that boy. And I would just be like, oh, this is what it's going to be like when I get older, like, it's like, and, but he had no idea, he had no idea that I had like a little crush on him, but,
right. Do you think that, so when do you think people started noticing?
Oh shit. Oh, I mean, excuse me. Oh, whoops. Like right off the bat, like people knew there was like, I mean, I played with like, I love toys in general. Like I love like action figures, cars. I played with like G.I. Joe, He-Man, but I also played with Barbies, and like, I just love toys in general. My parents, like, they were just kind of like, oh, it's just a phase, like, but
Yeah.
I don't, I'm gonna let them know it's not a phase. I still play with dolls. I still play with He-Man too. So, but, like, they had to know, like, early on, there was something, I was different. Like, my family, like, I am the pink sheep in my family, literally the pink sheep. Like my dad, like he always tried to like toughen me up. Like every time, like he was like, oh, tough up. And like, stop being such a sissy, like, and I was like, oh, but dad, like, like, just like, like it's dirty, or, like, but, but like, they always like tried to like, my grandparents to me, like, they were always just like, my mama especially, she was always just so like, like, oh, this is my baby, like, and like, I took up more with them, like my grandparents than like my parents, because my grandparents were more, I'm not trying to say anything bad about my parents, but my parents were rough. They were just rough people, you know, like good old hillbilly type, you know, like we're out in the country.
Right.
And my grandparents were more like refined, I guess, like, and, you know, softer. I don't know how to
Right.
put that, but, so I took
Yeah.
it more with my grandparents more than I did with my parents. So.
Right. Right. Now, tell everyone the story about when you wanted a certain Christmas gift.
Is this the
pink
totally
Barbie car?
Oh, well, my grandfather got me that. That was the last Christmas that we had with him. He died like the next day. So, he got me a pink Barbie car. And, what now?
Oh, I was going to say, wasn't he a pastor?
No, that's mom's dad, but dad's dad,
Yeah.
like he was in the military and like just this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like a rough, like hind tight, you know, like always wore like pressed pants, pressed shirt, like always like dressed right, you know what I'm saying? Like, and, but I used to, there's a picture of me and him, like we're sitting on the swing at his house and I'm holding a Barbie doll. And like, he got me this hot pink little car. It wasn't by Mattel. It was actually by, Gay Toys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was by Gay Toys. So, and I brought it up to Dad, and you know, years ago, and I was like, I told him I found another one just like it because that one's long gone.
Yeah.
The one I got is long gone, but I found another one, and I wanted it back. I wanted to have it as like a memento to my grandfather. So, I got it, and I told Dad about it, and I was like, Dad, I bought that pink Barbie car that Papa got me when you know, before he passed away. And he goes, is that what started all this? And I was like, no, you know, like this was already in motion way before that. So
That's what started all this.
But
now
the Christmas gift you're talking about is that I wanted Hollywood hair Barbie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Hollywood hair Barbie, and I wanted it so dabbling bad. And but the commercials were like, I got them confused, you know, like coming from a child who's in 3rd grade or, you know, 2nd grade, whenever it was, like the Hollywood hair, she had long hair, but it wasn't as long. It was like to her knees, but then Hollywood hair Barbie had hair all the way down to the floor.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one I wanted. And I kept telling I was like, I want Hollywood hair Barbie. I want Hollywood hair Barbie. And boy, when I got Hollywood hair Barbie, she didn't have the pink dress that Totally Hair had. She had like this white, silver, boring, blah, like, you know, I was like, oh, this is not the right one. This is not the right one. But I played with her regardless, but I played with it, like, you know, I was like, okay, like maybe mine got a haircut on the way to, you know, it was a Christmas.
In Santa Claus's sleigh or something.
Yeah, like she got a hair. One of the elves was messing with me and like gave her a haircut. And, but it was like years later, I figured out, like, I was like, it's Totally Hair Barbie, not Hollywood hair Barbie.
God.
Yeah. But like the commercials were like, they were like synchronized back then. Like they were like, I got them mixed up is what happened. I got them mixed up.
Now who got you that Barbie?
Santa.
So was that from your parents?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. It was.
My bad.
It was from
San
Santa
Diego.
Fe. I don't.
So, okay. So, when you were in school,
Mm-hmm.
talk about when you were asked what your favorite color was.
My second grade teacher, Miss Tussey, at West Urban Elementary. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know if I'm allowed to say. Am I allowed to
say that? That's what happened.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we were given like a form at the beginning of the school year, and it was like, what's your favorite food, favorite song, favorite TV show, favorite, favorite color, and I remember like I was like writing mine down. I remember everything. Mm-hmm. I got sent to the guidance counselor, and Miss Tate, she was like, what's your favorite color? I said hot pink with 2 T's. Now, mind you, I was in second grade when I said this, and she was like, she's like, don't you know that's a girl color? And I was like, I looked at her very strange, and I was like, I didn't know colors had genders.
Did you say that as second grader?
I was like, I didn't know that color. Well, I didn't say like genders, but I was like, I didn't know that colors were boys and girls. Like, I didn't understand.
Right.
I thought that was
very wise.
I thought that was very strange because colors were just colors, like to me, like I didn't know, they were assigned genders.
Right.
From creation. Right. But like it continued to go on for a while. It was like every Wednesday after lunch, I would have to go see Miss Tate. And like one time she would set like these little rubber dolls out in front of me, and they had like real clothes on them. Like there was a man and a woman and like 2 little kids, and she like set that out in front of me, and she like had like a little like Tonka truck or something, and she was like, Rodney, which one do you like the most? Oh, sorry, had a cat jump up on my table. She was like, Rodney, which one do you like the most? And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, well, I like the little dolls, like I think they're cute, and I looked at her and I was like, do you care if I play with them while we talk? And she was like, no, I don't care if you play with them. Like, and I was like, I would just sit there on the floor, and she was like at her desk, like just writing stuff, like, every little word I said. And, which I like, she would like be like, oh, is anybody touching you? Or is anybody, are they saying anything to you? And I was like, no, should they be touching me? Like, I was really confused.
Very confusing questions because you don't know why you're there.
Anybody touching you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, touching me how? Like,
right.
I don't understand the question.
So do you feel like they were curious? Do you feel like there was compassion, concern? What do you feel like this was coming from?
I think she was a nosy bee. What I was thinking. And she would ask me all kinds of questions, trying to like pull, like, that I think they were like studying me, not to be like, because I was so true to myself, like,
right.
Like, and I didn't know who else to be. Like, there was like, I can't fake anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. You are who you are.
Yeah, I am who I am, even at a young age. I'm still the same person I was in second grade. I just look different. I still love dolls, and I still love hot pink, and
right.
Diamonds and Pearls is still a banger. You know what I'm saying? Like, like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So.
And that brings up something I think is interesting too. And I do want to just kind of make a little side note too, because I know how these things can happen. when we're talking about the Estill County school system, we are talking about a school system from 1991, not last week. And so there's many more protections in place for children to be interviewed by counselors and so forth. So we don't want Estill County school system getting a bunch of calls saying, I can't believe you did this. I mean, they won't even, they're not even there anymore, probably.
This is
the people.
This is when I was a child. So this was like 32 years ago. Like, very long
this
time
is a
ago.
long time ago. So don't call Estill County. I'm sure Estill County is a lovely school system. But what I want to say though is when the other day I posted something on Facebook for Transgender Awareness Week, and it was about transgender kids. And somebody commented and they said, "There's no such thing as a transgender child." How would you respond to that?
Hi. Hello. Okay, so back then, like, I had no idea what or why I was the way I was. I thought, like, that was just how things were. I didn't see anything wrong with it until, like, not really wrong with it until I got older and people were, like, calling me names, and, like, people on the bus were, like, picking on me, and, like, I was getting picked on in school. Like, people were, like, saying things, and I was like, you know, like, but when I was a child, like, I knew there was something different about me, but I didn't know what it was. I couldn't explain to anybody what it was, like. And then I remember one day I was like, I came home, I was on the bus, and, like, people were calling me, like, they were calling me, like, queer bait and faggot, and I was like, or fag, you know, like, they were, like, calling me those things, and I came home and I was like, Mom was, like, dusting those big old, we had a great big giant entertainment center, and Mom was, like, dusting it, and I was like, Mom, what is a fag? What? I don't understand. Like, what is that? Or what's queer bait? And she was like, well, that's when a guy likes another guy. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's what I am then, you know, like, like, I didn't dispute it. I didn't say, like, no, I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying? I never said that. I was like, oh, okay, well, they're right then. You know, like, but
Okay.
what am I supposed to say to that? You're right.
Correct.
You're correct. Thank you for being so observant. So, like, you know, I went on, like, she didn't say, like, Mom didn't say, like, she's like, oh, that's bad. That's terrible. You know, she would just said it very nonchalantly. She was like, but my mom, she's, bless her heart, she's been dinging her whole life. So she probably just took no notice. She was like, okay, you know, like, I don't know what that was all about, but okay.
Interesting question. Okay.
Yeah.
How was your day?
Random. Back to dusting. But, like, and then, like, you know.
Go ahead.
Oh, like, you know, like, but when I got older, I was like, you know, I tried to protect myself and not become like this, like a target or anything. Well, I mean, I was already a target because, like I said, I've always been myself. I've always been me. So, like, I never conformed or changed my identity. But people would ask me, they were like, oh, are you gay? Or, you know, and I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? You know, like, what's your thought on it? And I never confirmed or denied. Like, and people pretty much left me alone. Like, they left me alone. Yeah. I mean, like, there was, like, the redneck country boys that gave me a hard time, you know, and then, when I, they gave me a hard time. And then when I got older and, became transgender, they tried to give me another hard time. But, like, I get, like, I got, you know, like, But like, in school, like I was like, this like 300-pound, like flaming, cause like I just was so like outgoing, and I did talent shows. I did, like, I danced in talent shows and shimmied and shaped my booty. And, I was
Right.
Right. Popular. I became popular in a sense,
Right.
Infamous, more really infamous.
Mm-hmm.
Like people come to me, they're like, "Oh my God, I remember you from the talent shows." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's nice." Like, I don't know who you are. What grade were you in?
You just had but didn't you just go to like a class reunion? And you had an amazing time,
like
right?
2 years ago. I graduated high school in 2002, and like I swear, like my classmates are the coolest bunch. Some of them, some of them not so cool, and they know who they are. But like for the majority, like of the Estill County High School graduating class of 2002, like they are fantastic. Like they're always been so good to me and nice to me, and except for the ones that shall not be named. But like I was very lucky, like I was very lucky to be, embraced with such love from my class. We had a reunion in like, I think like 2013 or 2012. And that was the first time I presented myself to my class as Gerica, from Rodney to Gerica, and my name tag said Rodney, and I wore it proudly because I love Rodney. Rodney was so much fun and just so outgoing and brave, and to me, like, Rodney gave up himself to become Gerica. I know that sounds so weird, but like,
no, it sounds beautiful. I think it's beautiful. Absolutely.
But, like, I cherish Rodney. Like, I love him, like, and I'm going to start crying. But, like,
it's okay.
Because I'm sorry, I didn't make people cry. But, like, yes, I did. No, but, like, Rodney was, like, so much fun. And he was, like, the class clown, and, and that's confirmed. You can look in my yearbook. Voted class clown and most talkative. And I sat there in class and I was like looking around at everybody when I got the yearbook, and I was like, "Do y'all really think I talk that much?" And everybody was like, "Yes." A lot. And I still talk, but you know what? I probably have undiagnosed ADHD. And I want to make a shout out to my one of my grade school teachers. They put me in special ed because of my ADHD. Like it came to like fruition in probably second grade. I noticed it a lot more, that I would be like taking a test and like I blank out completely, So Miss Tussie, bless her heart, she hated my guts. She hated me. So I would be like, "Oh, Miss Tussie, what was number 9? What was number 10? And she came and looked, and like from like 9 through 20 was gone. And she was just like, "Oh my God, you're sitting out in the hallway." And Miss Snowden, Margaret Lyle Snowden, was a freaking angel. I'm telling you, she was the nicest, sweetest woman. She was probably a newer teacher at the time, and I still talk to her to this day. I would, fight a room full of bulls for her. She walked by and she was like, "Oh, honey, what's going on? And she was my special ed teacher. And I was like, "Oh, Miss Snowden, I don't know what the hell happened." I was like, one minute I was just sitting there taking the test and the window was open and I was riding a cloud, and she was like, okay. She was like, well, come, like, she walked in and she was like, Miss Hussey, I'm going to take that with me, like, in the hallway. And she was like, take it, go, just go. Cause like, I probably wasn't the best student, but she probably wasn't the best teacher. I'm just be honest. Like, I was Miss Tussey, but Miss Snowden, my goodness, Margaret Lyle now, I guess. But I'll always know her as Miss Snowden. But, she was amazing. And she would like really worked with me like one-on-one with this, whatever I had going on. Daydreaming is what they called it back then. She was like, oh, you're just a daydreamer. And I remember running into her at Pizza Hut with Mom one day. And I was like, Miss Snowden why was I in special ed? I never understood that because like I didn't think that I was different. I mean, I knew I was different and odd, but different as in like, not, I was just she was like, oh, you're just on the different spectrum of things. So she helped clear that up, that I wasn't, goofy or, something going on. I was just ADD, ADHD or whatever, know.
Right. I did want to cover one other area. So as a child growing up at school, you had issues with some of the teachers, you had issues with some of the counselors, but at home, you also had issues with your father.
Oh, yes. Dad
he had a really hard time.
Yeah, Dad never he never really understood me as a child, but I think that really we had a coming to Jesus meeting. Like I graduated high school 2002, and he didn't come to my graduation, and I was like, why didn't you come? I don't understand, and he was like, I just didn't think you want me there. And I was like, no, I do things out of spite. And I was like, I'm going to graduate and be the first, kid to graduate out of my family and be the first one to go on to college and do something with myself. And, so Dad, he just I didn't think you'd want me there. And I was like, well, that's not true. I love my father, and I'm thankful for all the things that he's done for me. But my grandparents, they raised me from 13 on, and I was a lot closer to them. And but all this changed. We had a coming to Jesus meeting in 2010, and I was like, I don't understand why you treat me so different than my brother and my sister. I don't understand why, and he was like, well, I didn't know what to do with you. He was like, I wasn't going to get down on the floor and play Barbies with you. And I was like, I never asked you to play Barbies with me.
Right.
I played with other toys, too, but, and, just, I never really got a good answer from that, from that meeting. It was just he just didn't know what to do with me. I was so different than everybody in the family. I was literally the pink sheep of the family.
Right.
So,
but he tended to deal with things in your childhood with anger, though. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. Dad was abusive, and, we lost Dad last year, on November, and, it was really sad, because we reconciled in 2012, we reconciled. I came to him with a project to make armor for a cosplay. And, he was like, oh yeah, I can make that. He was like, just get you a form and blah, 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 and we'll make it out of fiberglass. I was like, okay. So that was our project, was making this armor for my cosplay. And, we really did bond over that. It was, I think that was us. That was my way, Dad's way, my way of burying the hatchet. you know, and then like
Right.
every year afterwards, I was like, oh, Dad, I've got this great idea for a costume. And he's like, let's make it. You get the stuff, we'll make it. And I was like, yay.
Right.
So, you know, I'm going to
Yeah.
miss that. I'm going to miss that, like him, like helping me
Right.
and stuff like that. So,
Right.
but yeah, like and then I took him to Disney. That was not a good trip for Dad. He didn't like, he was actually probably, he was ate up with cancer then and we had no idea. So he
Right.
was very miserable at Disney.
Right.
But, you know, we had a heart to heart again, just sitting in the hotel room or the condo. And he was like, I want to apologize for everything that I've ever done to you. And like, you know, that meant a lot to me. That meant so much to me, like just, you know,
Right.
Dad saying that because he was very, like a very gruff man, like, just very like,
yeah. I describe him as a grizzly of a man.
Yeah, just grizzly, you know, just this, you know, country, Harley riding, hippie, you know, kind of backwoods kind of dude, like, you know.
Yeah. What I remember most, and I think is kind of beautiful, is I do know, you know, I know Gerica is a very, very dear friend of mine. So I know this back history. But you were married once and you had a wedding. Yeah. Didn't take, but that's okay. So you were married, you had this beautiful white dress and you were at the, you know, it was this beautiful outdoor wedding. And I knew the history between you and your dad. And you're getting ready and we're sitting there and we're all talking and everything. And your dad shows up on the porch.
Yeah.
And he is so proud.
Yes.
To be the one to walk down the aisle. I remember he had his sport coat on. He had his little hat.
Yeah.
And he said, you tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And he was so smiling as he walked down my aisle. I thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah. You know, the wedding was absolutely gorgeous. The groom was not.
Yeah.
The wedding was like completely like ripped out of a fairy tale for me. And, you know, it was at my Aunt Jen. Shout out to Aunt Jen for letting me get married there.
Beautiful backdrop.
She's an amazing person, by the way. But you know, Dad was like nervous and, you know, like, and that, you know, them nerves, like getting to see that and like that.
Yeah.
Always.
And seeing the smile on his face.
Oh yeah. Like just, you know, he was happy and excited and nervous and, you know, and
well, I think it's important. On All Voices Reading Room Facebook page, I did a small little blurb about you and your dad and told kind of the story of, you know, how you went from, you know, this not good relationship to reconciliation. And, you know, now you grieve his loss and you have good memories of him and you all reconcile. And of all the posts I've done, that one got the most interactions.
Good.
It really touched a lot of people. And there was someone who shared it and they told their story. They told their story and they were like, I'm crying reading about Gerica and her father. And they said, I wish this could happen to me. I wish I could have this, but I'm thankful for my friends and family who accept me for who I am. But I don't know that I'll ever see this day. What do you say to someone who may never see that day?
Just give it time because I never thought I would either. You know, it took a lot of time and a lot, you know, like I didn't speak to my father for like 10 years, 9-10 years. Like, you know, like when I would call, like he would just hand the phone to Mom. Like it was just very estranged. And then, you know, things happen in people's lives that make them open up their eyes and they see that, hey, I've been missing out on this person's life who is very special, you know, and they're very unique and different. But, you know, I say just give it time if they're willing to, you know, and, you know, it's very unfortunate. Like I count myself very lucky, even though those 10 years of radio silence from my father, you know, the later years made up for the abuse, the silence, the, like just those few years that me and Dad had together, like, just made it all worth it, like, and, even if they're, getting ready to pass away or whatever, and they, just be thankful for that, I guess. I mean, like, I know some people, like, if they're completely toxic, I say just stay away from them. And, like, as the LGBT community, we create our own family. We have to, we adapt to, like, getting our own family and, stuff like that to offset, like, the negativity from our family. And I did that. I did that. I've had angels throughout my entire life that come in and out of my life and, be friends. And, they offset what my father, and my family just kind of, but just be patient, really. Like, I mean, it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen this way. I was very lucky and fortunate. But, it didn't seem that way at first. It didn't.
Right. As an adolescent boy, as little Rodney, having these feelings that you had and seeing these differences that you were seeing, how could you differentiate from being a gay boy to being a transgender girl? Or could you?
So there's many levels to this. I remember in like 95, I rented a movie called Tu Wong Fu, and it was Wesley Snipes and John Leguizamo and Patrick Swayze. So they were drag queens in it, and we were watching it, and like they were putting on makeup. They were men. They were putting on makeup, and Dad was like furious at this point. He was like, "Is that what you want to be? Is that how you want to be?" And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. We didn't have this kind of outlet when I was younger. And we didn't have the things that they have now. They didn't have, things explaining, oh, this is what this is. I just thought I was gay and that was it. That there was no like transitioning. There was no, I thought that was just I felt inside that I was a woman. It's very strange, but as I got older, I just came to the, I came to the realization, or the conclusion rather, that I was just like, okay, I'm just going to be a gay man the rest of my life. Because I didn't know anything, I knew there was, I did drag shows for many years, probably about 10 years. And, I've met a bunch of transgender women, but I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't understand, and I finally, got to, I was overweight, and even if I did try estrogen, they wanted me to be a certain weight. And I was just, heavy set my entire life. So, I lost a lot of weight, and then I was like, hey, I think I can get on estrogen now. So the realization, I think, was the crossover from me becoming Rodney to Trixie Firecracker to Gerica. It was just like a blur, it was like, oh, I'm just gonna transition like that. It's very, and I think that's how a lot of people probably done it over the years. Like they just go from, doing drag into realizing, oh, this is how I feel comfortable. And that was me. Like I dress up all the time when I was younger, but to me, it was just like a slow, gradual, move.
But the access to information now is so much different than it was back.
There's internet's right in your hand, it's right there. But when I was younger, we had dial up, and it took 5 minutes to, it took 3 hours for a 5-minute video to download. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. But
So,
you're right. You're absolutely right. Cause, in late 80s, early 90s, before that, you didn't hear a lot about transgender people. You knew about drag queens. You knew about, cross-dressing,
mhm.
that was talked about a lot, is men who cross-dressed, but it wasn't really talked about, the having this choice, to even be who you really want to be.
Yeah, like, see, I was I was so young in the 90s, like, and into the 2000s, like, like this was, never really talked about or
Right.
brought up.
Right.
And then, like, and I will say, like, children know. I may get in trouble for that, but, like, children know that they are different. Children understand that they are different. And now, like, I knew I was different. I knew there was something different about me because, my parents are like, oh, you're supposed to like girls. You're supposed to like girls. And I'm like, well, I like boys. I'm sorry. So children know that something's up, something's different. And I say, like, I knew I was different, but I didn't know what. But if I had internet access and, like, people to talk
all
to,
of the literature and things,
and, like, this information will help me. I was so depressed when I was younger, but I put on a smile, I laughed, I cackled loudly, and just, tumbled around and shook my booty and everything. But deep down inside, like, I didn't understand, like, why I was this way. And I was so, like, just down and out and put out and inside. But at the outside, you would never knew that I was sad.
Like,
and
that's the way depression is.
Yeah.
It's always, there's a popular thing that you see now. It says no one fakes depression. They fake being okay.
Yeah. I faked, like, I was happy, like, I was goofy and outgoing, but that was just my personality. But inside, I was just sad because I didn't understand why, and I had nobody to ask. They wanted to study me in the country. You know what I'm saying? They want, they were like, why are you like this? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I would like to know,
Yeah. I would like to have some answers.
I would like to have some answers, and thankfully I'm living my life now and I don't have to, awesome. I don't answer to nobody.
That's right.
Like,
that's right. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and open up. Because I think this inspires people. Gerica, I have this naive view that the reason we're divided is because we have these ideas about a group of people that have no faces. And when we start to put a face on things, then it starts to switch something in our mind, it switches something in our heart. And I'm just so thankful that you agreed to come on and talk to me and share your story.
Oh, no problem. And I appreciate you all considering me to interview. And I will say I hate public restrooms. Anyway,
I know.
I hate them.
Yeah. You just want to pee
and get the hell out of there. That's all I care.
Want to check your hair and pee.
Yeah, pee and get out of there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Voices of Winchester podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us now on YouTube at Win City Voices. And for even more content, head over to wincityvoices.org. our e-magazine where we feature some of the best local writers and artists. And stay up to date on everything Wind City Media. Follow us on Facebook at Wind City Voices. This podcast is brought to you by Wind City Media, a 501c3 nonprofit. We're 100% supported by listeners and readers like you. Thank you for your support.